Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all of you for today's Gita course. So before we start, we'll have the Aarti of their lordships. So all the devotees are also requested to share their grateful offering, either through the lamps or through the incense or through our intense emotions to the Supreme Lord. So we can start the Aarti of the lordships. Okay.
Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Viraj Prabhu will do the Aarti today.
A beautiful deity with a wonderful altar of Viraj Prabhu. So we
Hare
have
Krishna
also
Prabhu.
in houses.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Viraj Prabhu, Aswini Mataji, for giving us your darshan. Beautiful deities. Continue Kirtan.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Viraj Prabhu. It was a wonderful lesson. Rosie, you're on mute. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Viraj Prabhu. It was a wonderful lesson of say Radha Shyam Sundar. We're very grateful to you. Okay, so let's get started with today's discussion. And let's offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord before we get started. Okay. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirbishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Desatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So yes, it's very important for all of us to take the blessings of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnavas who are like desire trees, who can fulfill all our desires, and especially our spiritual desires, through which we want to grow holistically in the path of the devotion. They can really help us, they can really empower us. And we really take shelter of Panchatattva and Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, who are the founders of the Sankirtan movement, who are the fathers of the Sankirtan movement, so that we can get the right devotion, right mood, right intention to approach in this path of bhakti. Yeah. And yes, we pray to this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because Lord is saying that this Mahamantra is non-different than the Lord himself. So once we take shelter of their lordships, we invoke auspicious presence of them in our heart. It's important not only for the speaker, but for the audience or the hearers as well. So that how we can be absorbed in hearing this transcendental sound vibration that is coming from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna. Yes, there could be so much a distraction in so many ways, but let's try to be attentive as we progress on this theme that we are discussing, who is pulling my strings. And yes, last session was, I believe, quite interesting, and we'll continue the same theme. And yes, it will be once again pretty transformational, right? And that's what I can really assure you, one of the most important session so far, right? It will once again very practical, that we can really apply it in our own life. Okay, so let's continue our discussion, taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada. So before we proceed, anybody would like to share some of the thoughts that we discussed from the last time? Okay, anybody would like to share what are the theme that we discussed? So we are discussing from the chapter 14. Of course, we are also taking reference from chapter 17 and chapter 18 and so on, because as we discussed, our Gita course is not really based on chapter wise, more on theme wise. So we are discussing on the theme of three modes of material nature, three gunas. Yes, thank you, Aishwarya Mataji. Yes, we are talking about three modes of material nature. And at the same time, we also summarized the 14th chapter with an acronym. Yes, that's called TRAP, T-R-A-P. What is the meaning of the TRAP? Or what is that full form of the trap? We are trapped, as you can see those puppeteer, right, playing with the puppets, with the chain of strings. So you're trapped. The way the puppeteer moves the fingers, we are really going around. And is it not? We discussed with that principle of that we have been discussing, that we have come to this material world, which is like anybody can tell? Like we give always this example of
Jail.
Yes, it's a jail. Thank you very much. Yes, we always discuss that, how this material world is like a jail. We have to understand it and we have to realize it. And the most important thing is that how we can realize this aspect, that we are not here just for enjoy madi, masti madi, and just to have fun in the life. But this is the place, because we have committed some offense, because we are envious of the Supreme Lord. We have been given this atmosphere for us to get corrected, to get purified, to get free of diseases. And what are those diseases? Somebody said, oh, no, I don't have COVID yet. I don't have any other disease so far. And here we are talking about not only the disease of the body, disease of the consciousness, disease of our heart, right? How we are feeling so much of lust, greed, anger, illusion, and madness, that we talked about ajnana, andhakar, and asakti, all that, how it's really deeply embedded in our heart with the layers and layers of ignorance. And now we are trying to enlighten ourselves, with this help of knowledge. Yes, so this is a jail. And then once you come to the jail, like of course, we have not been to the jail. We are discussing that, like how in a jail you're getting different dresses depending on the types of jail, or depending on the types of offense somebody commits. Right? And then yes, somebody gets the body of a animal or a birds or aquatics, or a plant, or a human body. And the human body also, there could be, depending on the consciousness, there could be varieties of bodies that we get it. And then we also get chained. Not only we get a special dress, but also we get chained. And that chain could be like maybe we are bound with the ropes or iron, or silver chain or gold chain, and depending on one side, or just a house arrest, right? Depending on different severity and the type of offense that we commit, we get a different body and a certain kind of chains. And not only that, then we are made to suffer, so that we realize that yes, we committed offense, and there is a need for us to purify, because unless we pay the price for the offense, we do it, right? Usually we don't get purified, we don't acknowledge, we don't repent, we don't really correct it, and we, in that jail itself, once again we think that okay, especially the ruffians, what they think that like okay, in the jail they really plan for the next adventure, they use that jail once again as an opportunity to associate with the like-minded people, so that they can plan for the next robbery or next whatever the nonsense they want to do it. But then yes, like the main purpose of the jail is to really somehow create an ambience so that they can really come out of it, and they can come out of that bad consciousness, and they can get corrected, they can get purified. So yes, we're in this section we are talking about how some people, they act and they go through different behaviors and different qualities because of the three modes of nature. And what are the three modes of nature we talked about? Mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness. We talked about tamasic, rajasic, and sattvas. Very good. So can anybody tell? Like we discussed, that cap seller. We discussed that one as an example. How see, like the stories are so symbolic, and we can really learn a lot, from these stories, right? From that cap seller story, right? Like, what do you know? Those especially who are in the mode of ignorance. What are their qualities? What is their qualities of who are there in the mode of tamasic? Would like to hear from you.
Laziness, sleeping.
Yes, very good, very good. Pramada, alasya, pramada, like the laziness, alasya, pramada, and nidra, like they sleep too much, they procrastinate, right? And their life just always in suffering. They just always focus on how can I really beg, borrow, steal, and just stay in the darkness of intoxication and so many nonsense things that they want to do it, right? So that's why they don't follow any rules and regulations. Yes, they don't know also that yes, and I'm suffering, or even if they know, they just try to disown it, they try to ignore it, they don't follow anybody for that matter. Even they don't care for their health as well. Can you believe it? Like they know that like if they take some dirty things or bad things, or they associate with the nonsense things, they really suffer out of it. But still they don't make an endeavor, right, to come out of it. They're completely mad, completely intoxicated. That's why we call they are in the mode of ignorance, completely entrapped, and the layers and layers of ignorance. Very unfortunate. And yes, like that cap seller, how like once that cap seller lost all the caps, then he started abusing and crying and feeling pity for what he lost, and then after yelling enough, and then he felt really morose, and then he just went away. Oh, I lost my things. And then what is the mood of who are in the mode of passion? What is the mode of rajasic? Mr. Gloria, Mr. Roger, and they focus on what? What are their qualities? Any thoughts?
More on material attachments.
Yes. Okay. Is it that sound disturbance is for everybody, or is it that only for Khushbu Mataji? Is it clear now? Hare Krishna, Khushbu Mataji. Is the voice is clear now? You can hear properly?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, now I can hear.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So yes, it is the persons who are in the mode of passion. They are so much of attached to the prayas, and unlimited desires, lobha, and they just want more and more and more and more. Like life is they never end, right? Whatever they get, they just add +1 or multiplied by 2 or multiplied by some n. And whatever the n, depending on their severity of the passion, they really continue to increase it. Unlimited desires they have. There is no end to it. That's why they focus not only on the what exactly I do, but what exactly I get it. And basically their main focus is how can I really get more and more enjoyment through my senses. Indriya bhoga, indriya trupti is the only thing. How can I really enjoy myself? That's why, right? Because we discussed that famous verse, yes ansprasa bhoga dukkha yannavate adi antavanta kantyo. Like, especially if you want to enjoy with our senses, yes, we will get some enjoyment, but then it comes with the package. Also, buy one get one free. With that pleasure, we get some suffering as well. There is no pleasure in this material world, right, which doesn't come with any suffering, right? Any material pleasure, right? So there is a sukha and there is a some sukha, right? Some that's why anityam asukham. That's what Lord has defined this material world as anityam asukham dukkhalayam asasukham. Right? We cannot really get whatever we want, and that yes, it is required, like for our living and to do the needful. At the same time, how it has to be guided by the next level. What is that next level? The mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is sattvic. And what are the qualities of sattvic? What are the qualities of persons? Like we call Mr. Steve, who is really knowledgeable. It's a jnanam, vidya, and he really looks for the divine pleasures. He really looks for what exactly the rules and regulations, what are the scriptures, right? He would not mind, right, going through some temporary pain to get the long-term happiness, and he's not attached, right, to the result, but focusing on the process. That yes, if I do my activity well, and the result will automatically follow. It's not so much of attached to the result, because once we are focusing on the result, once we are focusing on the fruit, then we forget to focus on the root. But our focus is like, especially who are in the mode of goodness, they focus on how can I really water consistently daily to the root of the tree. Now focus on the process. Once you focus on taking care of the watering daily on the process, and then the fruits will automatically follow. But then if I just wait for the fruits, nothing is going to happen. Or if, and they are also very determined, they are at the same time enthusiastic, they are patient. It's not that, okay, Ajbharti Kal Chakravarti, we need to develop some patience. And that's why we discuss so many qualities, like either in the student life or a family life or in the relationship or in the corporate life. And these principles can be applied everywhere. That's why we call this the messages of Bhagavad Gita are universal. These are not specific to any caste, creed, religion, anything like that. That's why we call Sanatan Dharma. These are the eternal principles. Right? Can anybody say that whatever we have been discussing is not applicable to certain specific categories of people? No, it's applicable to everybody. right? So through which we can introspect ourselves, and taking those principles, we can improve ourselves. That's why Lord has given this opportunity to, He's given us the knowledge how we can progressively improve. Yes, we talked about 3 modes of nature, and that time there is a race, there is a competition. There is a competition. And what is that competition is all about? That okay, which one will prevail? The goodness will prevail, or the passion will prevail, or the ignorance will prevail? Which one do you think will prevail? Which one prevails within us? Goodness, passion, or ignorance? Which one? Some time back we already given an example. What was that example? In everybody's heart, like there is a good dog and bad dog. Always they are barking. And which is the dog that wins? Which one? The dog that really barks the loudest. Not the right dog. Always there are 2 thoughts always coming into our mind. One is a right thought, and there is a loud thought. But always a loud thought prevails, not the right one. Right? It may, the loud thought sometimes may be right one, or maybe the wrong one. So we need to really understand, we are really hearing the loud voice or the right voice within our heart. And which one will prevail? The one we feed the most. So we'll focus on this principle today. We are what we associate with. Okay. So let's continue our discussion. So yes, we just discussed about 3 modes: race for prominence. And now whatever we do, right, definitely we are planning for the future. So yes, we are, depending on our karma, depending on whatever exactly we have done, we are in this currently different modes of nature based on what we have gone through in this lifetime and earlier lifetimes. But now there's an opportunity for us to change the future. Right? So how we can really now make a better version of ourselves, so that we can make a better, we can be a better human being. And then so that we can really lead a pure life. That's what we call traps. So now, yes, we talked about this, how there is a race for supremacy, how there is always a competition between these 3 modes of nature: sattva, tamas, and rajas. We discussed that. And then we discussed that, the hint also that Lord has given, how we can really get those qualities. How the most important thing that we highlighted here, what we said, karanam gunasangasya. Okay. So we said that here, we said karanam gunasangasya. This is the most important principle. And what we are saying here, so we really develop those qualities based on the association, right? And this is based on our association. This is due to the association that we acquire. So how we really develop these qualities, we'll discuss a little bit more. We are what we associate with. So any thoughts how we can really bring a better version of ourselves, how we can associate with and different things, so that yes, our desire is to really progress, right? To come to the mode of goodness. Because we remember we discussed about that, like the different globes, like a boxer globe or a cricket globe or the globe of the surgeon, right? Like if you want to really sew the thread, which is so fine, we cannot do with a boxer globe or a cricket globe. We need the surgeon's globe. And that's why if you really want to discuss something about spirituality or to get something finer substance in the life, right, we have to come to the mode of goodness. So, but how do you really develop that mode of goodness? How do you really develop? Yes, there's a nice question. Mother is asking, how do you differentiate sometimes if it's a right or wrong? We'll talk about it. Okay, so how do we associate? How do you associate? Any thoughts? How do you associate with something, right? Or how you really, get to this mode of goodness? Any thoughts? Any comments from all of you? We hear always this principle in computer science also called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage data, you will get garbage output. So in our life, what do you mean by this principle of GIGO? What do you mean by this Karanam Guna Sangasya? Right? How we can really bring a better version of ourselves? Any thoughts, any comments? Please use your chat box. Would like to hear from all of you. What are the things that we can associate with? How we can really bring that positivity in our life to bring that positivity within ourselves? How do we really, being helpful, coming into the right association? Yes. Any other thoughts? Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yes, good thoughts. Thank you. Tamataji, you are talking about good thoughts. Very good. By spreading positivity, say, by acting as an instrument. All of you are saying by good people around, by nice reading, giving positive talk, reading life history of the great persons. Yes, you want to know about, you want to be a great person, then yes, you have to know about the great person. What are the qualities of the great persons? Yes. And yes, we should serve. Very good. And we should chant. Okay, thank you. Being among the positive people. Yes, and we need really the mercy. We need the blessings. And that's what we can differentiate the difference between the Pandavas and Kauravas. Pandavas are always getting the blessings, and Kauravas, they're always trying to get the curse of others. Yes, love, gratitude is so wonderful principles. Right? Yes, we are aware of these principles, but now it's really up to us. How do we really apply it into our own life? Because we have been saying again and again, right? Information is not enough. What is really required is the transformation. Somehow this information, whatever we have been discussing, that has to bring the transformation, right? Yes, how we can really associate with these wonderful principles that all of you have talked about. That can really imbibe in ourselves, so that the positivity can really come out. Okay, so let's start with the very, very important principles that all of you can relate to. I assure you, I guarantee you, right? Just with this principle, right? Everybody can relate to it. Okay, what is that? We are what we eat. Isn't it so simple? Before going on the broader, right, subtle principles, let's talk from the gross perspective, right? Because most of the times, right, we use like some food, right, that really goes within us. And Lord is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, right, we'll be now discussing that, how Lord is saying what kind of food we should take. Isn't it so wonderful? Lord is saying how our food habits transforms within us. What do you think? Like, what are the qualities that different foods have in our life? Any thoughts? What are the tamasic, or what do you call rajasic, or what exactly the sattvic foods? Because we said we are what we associate with, and we are what we eat. Okay, so let's now directly hear from the Lord what he is saying, because he has told us these principles. Let's hear, what are those? Yes, we should associate. We should, like as our Piyush Prabhu is saying, you should avoid tamasic food, and we should take sattvic food. Like our, I think Hemu Mataji was asking, what is the right and wrong? What do you know? Is a sattvic food? What is a tamasic food? What is rajasic food? Lord is giving the answer here. Now let's continue. What are those answers are? Okay. Yatayamam gata rasam puti paryusitam chayat uchistam api chamedhyam bhojanam tamasam priyam. Okay, so anybody would like to read? And you can raise your hand. I'll try to unmute you. Please raise your hand. So that, yes, Piyush Prabhu, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, son. Yeah, Prabhuji. Food prepared for more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and the untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness.
Any examples? Now we know that. Okay, what is this tamasic food are? Any examples? What are those tamasic food?
So one of the examples what I heard from some of the Prabhujis, try to avoid this onion and garlic, which are the
Okay.
one of the tamasic food. So
Okay.
in whatever the prasad what we received in all our
Yes.
temples is
Yes. Very good. So
apart
let's
from
now
this.
focus on tamasic food. So tamasic food, one is that, okay, we talked about onion, garlic, but even more grosser than that, right? Like we said, which
Meat.
is decomposed, which is, tasteless, right? Right. And the alcohol, right? You know that how they really decompose some fruits and they really, get the alcohol out of it, right? Or they make the, like, I think Judge Bernard Shaw, right? The Nobel laureate, like, he was saying that don't make your body as the graveyard for the carcasses, right? Like, or the dead bodies. We should not take non-veg food. Yes, thank you. This, all the meat, non-veg, or like, which is really decomposed, which is putrid, or the, untouchable things that if you don't know, right? Like in some places, what kind of foods they take actually, and and how people suffer also, right? Whatever fly, whatever goes around, they just grab it and they just fry it, and we cannot think of in different parts of the world what exactly they take it, and in our society also, right? Now there is no limitations, what, and you can see especially all the junk foods, right? uh, how exactly it is detrimental to our health. Yes, all the stale foods, like they keep it in the freeze for days and months and years, all these frozen foods. And let's go to the food which is really in the mode of passion or in mode of rajasic. Katwamla lavarnati tikshna ruksha vidahina ahara rajasayashta dukkha sokamaya prada. Yes, Shivakumar Prabhu, or anybody else?
Too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to them in the mode of passion.
Yes. What are those foods are? Huh?
Too bitter, too sour,
Yeah,
salty.
all the, like, people, they take only chili and only salty or only oily food, and all the pungent, and all the dry burning, this food really, we can see how it is detrimental for our health, for our heart, for our the intestines, and for our all the cells. Yes, Avinash Prabhu, all our fast foods, like especially you just do the quick research, like now all these junk foods like the pizza, burger, all the French fries, right? The way it is produced, the ingredients, like the potato, it is being produced, like especially I think in Magdi or somewhere, like the potato they produce, and how much, right? Like like this pesticides and insecticides, they are really thrown into that, right? Even people, the farmers, they don't really approach that crops, right? Or because it's so toxic, right? Or you talk about any other, right? Like the which could be really testy, right, for so-called our test buds in our tongue, but how it is so detrimental to our health. How we should really understand, and how we should now make this as a litmus test once again, what kind of food we should take. And but at the same time, Lord has given us not only what we should avoid, he has also given us what we should take, what we should honor. You're saying, and what is the result out of it? What is the result out of it? Ayu, Sattva, Balaragya, Sukha, Priti, Vivardhana, Rasya, Snigdha, Sthira, Hridya, Ahara, Sattika, Priya. Yes, Gita Mataji, please go ahead. Gita Mataji, you want to read? Yes, please.
Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Bhagavad Gita 17.
Thank you very much. Right. So here we are talking about the foods, like which are the fruits which are having a lot of juices, right? Which are really the balanced food. How they are really good for our health and good for our body and good for our consciousness. How we should really take them, how we should really honor them. Not that, okay, we prepare, what is that? That even batter for 7 days back, and then we prepare idli 2 days back, and then one becomes little sour, then we now put some more masala and we fry it, and we take it, right? Like how, as much as possible. Yes, once in a while it is okay, because of some time, place, and circumstances. Like, okay, we can do it, but as much as possible, it is said that we should honor the food which is cooked less than 3 hours. If it is more than 3 hours, it is not good for our body and health. Right? So we should take fresh fruits. We should take fresh fruits and fresh food. What is it really natural, which is really as much as free from, right, all this katu, amla, or tamasic foods, which is decomposed, and which is all that putrid and so on. Is it clear how we should know what is right and wrong, and what kind of food we should take for us to move into the mode of goodness, to the sattvic path. Okay, now we understand what we should eat. Let's move forward to next one of our indriyas. What we should hear, we should talk about. We discussed last session. We have a nava dwaras, 9 gates in our body. We have mouth, like 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, right? So we'll not be able to cover how we can really enlighten all our these gates, how we can enlighten all our indriyas. But let's discuss few of them. And one of them is this principle called how we can, what is the right things that we should hear. And today we discuss, okay, not only we'll discuss about Bhagavad Gita also, but from the contemporary scientist. This is this Japanese scientist, and he has done a lot of research. The effect of sound on the crystal that is formed in the water. He calls it water crystal photography. And subsequently, after Masaru Emoto, right, some other scientists have then done some analysis and research. They call it 4th phase of water, right? What is the effect of different kinds of sounds, either this rock and roll music or rap music or the meditational music or classical music? What kind of a crystal gets formed? Why you are talking about the effect of sound on water? Because in our body, right, the highest component is really the water. If you can think that the sound really affects water in a really distorted, in a random way, in a absurd way, or in a positive way, right? How you see, like he has given this beautiful examples that once water, right, is really impacted with the different kinds of sounds, right? This is like the mode of passion or ignorance, and this is really, or the rock and roll music and rap music and all that stuff, and especially the classical music or the meditation mantras and so on. What kind of, with the different mantras, what kind of a crystal gets formed in the water? Can you believe it? Right? Of course, in a day-to-day life also, you can really understand. Like if there is a certain frequency of the sound, even the glass gets vibrated, and there is a certain frequency of the sound. Dogs can realize, and dogs can really act in a certain way. Right. So there is some decibel, there is some frequency through which there is some effect out of it. Are you able to relate to it? Do you think it really makes sense for us to hear right thing, right sound, right voices? Because we are what we hear. We discussed about we are what we eat. Now we are what we hear. So it's very important for us, and that's why we request everybody here that every day in the morning, the first thing we should do is not to hear about all the gossip of the world through the WhatsApp and Facebook. Please switch it off, right, for at least 2 hours. after we wake up, right? And then we just focus ourselves on the positivity by reading these transcendental scriptures, or by hearing the transcendental sound of Mahamantra, or like do some beautiful exercises, right? That can really really absorb ourselves, right? Getting in the right so that we can form the right crystals in our body, right consciousness in our body. Everybody able to relate to it? Yes, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, like, yes, some of you might have heard, there is this very famous author called Daniel Goleman, who has written this book called Emotional Quotient, and he has even talked about it, this how this Hare Krishna Mahamantra really brings that positivity in the life. Like so many contemporary scientists, they have done a real research, right? Sometimes we don't believe. We said that, that Lord is saying that Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nama Kevalam, right? Like we sing that, yes, this power of sound vibration is really so goes deep into our heart, right? And that scientists are proving how it really affects the different brain waves. Maybe sometime we'll discuss about that alpha, beta, gamma waves that is there in their body, and how it affects us, how it really transforms us, with this powerful sound vibration that we are chanting. And that's why we are saying that, yes, most important for us is that to, be absorbed ourselves with the right sound vibration. Okay, so we discussed what we eat and what we hear. Let's discuss further how we should really use our, once again, our tongue, because tongue is used for two things. One is to eat, another is to speak. Yes, we learn so many languages like French, Spanish, and Hindi, Telugu, and Odia, English, and so many languages, but we don't know how to speak, what to speak, how to speak, when to speak, hardly we know about it. Most of the times, we create so much of anxiety and stress in others' heart. Do you really believe it's not only we're really creating so ugly environment within us, but also we really create so much of anxiety with others? Then once again, let's hear what Lord is saying, what kind of thing we should speak, how we should speak. Lord is saying, see, Lord has given everything, right? How we can really transform our life in positive way, how we can really bring a way of life. What he's saying, Anudvegakaram vakyam satya priya hitam chaya swadhyaya abhyasanam cheva banmayam tapauchyate. Anybody would like to read? Yes, Pinti
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, मैं पढ़ूं?
Yes, Mataji, bole.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Bhagavad Gita 17.15.
Thank you very much. Yes, like we are discussing, not we are concocting something from us to speak something. We are really quoting from the Shastra. What is Lord is saying? That how Lord is saying what we should speak. We should find fault with the others. We should blaspheme others. We should criticize others. We should spread rumors. We should spread gossips. What should I do? Or we should tell those bitter truth. Yes, I am speaking truth. But in the matter of that, we are our tongues, which is so soft, it really acts as a sharp sword, to really attack, to really break that bones of somebody, to break the heart of somebody. So it is so painful. But what Lord is saying, he's saying, these are the things that we should really think, before we speak. If it is, please see what if it is truthful or not, if it is pleasing or not, if it is beneficial or not, or is it really agitating to him. अनुद्वेग कर्म भाग्य, इस किसी को उद्वेग नहीं पहुंचाने का है, right? Our words should not create anxiety, stress to others. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam. Yes, we should speak the truth, but that truth also should be priya and hitam. It should be pleasing and it should be beneficial. And then, yes, we should be reciting the wonderful scriptures. That's how we can really use our speech. Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's move forward. Okay, so yes, sometimes, yes, we eat nicely, we communicate nicely, we hear nicely, but there are some of the circumstances, how we deal with the circumstances. Because we said that, whatever we do, the dualities of the nature will definitely, trigger us, will impel us to act in a different way. And that maturity, that how we deal with that. Yes, so once that difficulty comes up, right? As you said, because of our past karma, some difficulties we will get it. We cannot run away from it. But then how do you deal with those difficulties at this point of time? We just really end up yelling and crying and really blaspheming the Lord, blaspheming the circumstances, right? I think last time we discussed Kalpana Mataji, you are there, right? So you had asked a very wonderful question.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, yes.
Could you please elaborate on that, what we discussed last time? Because maybe some of the participants had left and we had a wonderful discussion. You had asked something and we discussed on that topic.
Yeah, I just said a lot of hurdles in spite of this one. So how do we deal with it? Is it because of the karma, or is Krishna, trying to get us, face it and understand how these things are very meager and should we proceed forward without getting this one too.
And what do we discuss? What was the answer you got it? And what was the example that we discussed?
Yeah, Prabhuji, you can tell us. Sorry.
We discussed the example of Hanumanji. Remember?
Yes, sorry, Hanuman. Yes.
Yeah. So how Hanumanji, when he went to the Lanka, with so much of struggle, going through so much obstacles, he reached that Asokavan. And then, somehow, he came in front of Mother Sita, and then, right, but then, he wanted to do something more, and then, he tried to destroy that Asaka Vatika as well. And then he was really bound by the demons, with the ropes and so on. He was, of course, willingly, was bound. And then not only that, of course, then when he was brought in front of that King Ravan, right, and then he ordered, he really destroyed so many things, and he created a ruckus in our golden kingdom, and this pride of a monkey is really the tail. Let's burn the tail of this monkey. And what at that time Hanuman was thinking, why Lord Ram is doing this to me? I came for his work, to try to find his wife, and now, right, Lord is doing this to me. Why Lord is creating so much of difficulty for me? And I am trying to help Lord, and why he is now kind of creating circumstances where I am really defamed, insulted, and trying to be burnt. Was he really feeling that? Or at that time he was really feeling that? And even I approached Mother Sita, and I helped Mother Sita, and really gave the nice message to Mother. Gave some kind of relief to Mother, and what Mother Sita is doing to me? Is she really allowing me once again to suffer so much? But at the same time, he was really grateful to the Lord. Oh Lord, thank you, and oh Lord, I will just want to remember your name always. He just prayed Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sita Ram, right? And just by remembering, Lord knows what is happening, and especially Mother Sita, who is so merciful, he prayed to the Agni that please take care of my son, my messenger of the Lord saves, right? That fire that fire felt like an ice cream, and then Hanuman wanted to do something more, not really blaming and criticizing at that situation, but then he responded by really creating more chaos in that Lanka Nagari, so that Ravan could get a lesson out of it. So yes, all of us really come across different dualities in their life. One thing we can do is that, it's because of my karma, something has happened, and I really give up, I really quit, and I really do all kind of nonsense things. And at the same of time, a sane person, right, guided in this mode of goodness, how can I really, what should I do now to serve the Lord, to serve the devotees, and to serve my consciousness come out in a brighter way? Right? Yes. How can I really use this opportunity? Yes, speaking is easy, talking about easy, discussion is easy, but yes, so many devotees have done it. So many, even so-called in the materialistic people also, they have done it. Right? There was this person called, I don't know if you know, this is called Olympian called Wilma Rudolph. This lady, she was brought up like with a polio legs, right? And the doctor had told her that throughout your whole life you will be in the wheelchair. When you cannot walk, you can see what kind of, but that girl, she had so much of intense desire. No, I want to run, and not only run, I want to be the fastest girl, in this planet. And everybody started laughing and joking at her once she, said that. But then slowly and slowly, she came out of the wheelchair, put 1 step, 2 steps, 4 steps, and they started walking. And then she got the strength and she started walking. And then in the school race, she got the strength. She got that idea, no, let me participate in this race of 100 meters. She participated. And do you know what happened? She came last. Yes, no wonder. What else you can expect? But then she tried again and again and again. And it's just a matter of time, right? She became the world champion. She became the gold medalist in the Olympics, right? It happened in the real life for a sports person. Or you talk about, right? Like, I was hearing about, there was an IS aspirant called Mr. Govind or something. He was born in just a rickshaw puller, farmers, like, a rickshaw puller family. But then with so much of strength and determination, he came out of it and became one of the youngest, IS holder, right? Or on the spirituality, we talk about Srila Prabhupada. At the age of 70, didn't have anything, with so much of heart attack, right? He went on to that ship, right? Just because he heard that, like, his spiritual master told that, no, go and transform the whole world. And he went. And all of us, what exactly has happened? And now all over the world, everywhere, the Bhagavad Gita is distributed. More than 50 crore Bhagavad Gita is distributed all over the world. Now, there's not a city in the world where there is not a ISKCON center or people are not chanting Hare Krishna. Now, why it is? How it is happening? It is because of the purity and the determination and that compassion of a single person at the age of 70. Right? So at no point of time we should give up. We should really think that, okay, nothing is possible right now for us. Yes, whoever around us, they might leave us, right? We should not be disturbed by it. We should think that the Lord is there, that positive faith within us, that if Lord is there within me, and if I pray to him, definitely, right? Yes, we are not talking about that, right? Just a faith will, do the wonders, right? And we always say that, yes, we should pray that everything depends on the Lord, and we should put our endeavor in such a way that our endeavors also is really determining that mercy. We always focuses on that, both endeavor and the prayers, and that's what we discussed in the in our Damodar month so much in detail. In Damodar month, we talked about the 2 fingers, our endeavor and praying for the mercy of the Lord. How we should always focus on these 2 principles in whatever we do. That yes, we should do whatever is possible, and whatever is not possible, then we leave it to the Lord. And then how do you get the intelligence? And how much we should try, and how much we should leave it to the Lord? We discussed in our Food for Soul sessions. The Lord is saying in that Chatusloki verse in the 10th chapter, Lord is saying, Tesam sato yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayandite. Yes, once you do this process with love and devotion, I'll give the intelligence. Okay, so let's move forward. We discussed about that how do we respond to the situations in our life. That yes, how we should try to influence. What is the center of influence? What exactly is possible within us? We should try to do our best, rather than focusing always what we cannot do. Right? just analyzing our past, focusing on the history, or planning for the future, which is really a mystery. We cannot change our history or the future, our history or the mystery, right? That the past or the future. But we should focus on what exactly we can do at the present moment, right? Because the persons who are in the mode of passion, they are always in the future. They are especially persons who are in the mode of the tamasic and rajasic. They always think, oh, once upon a time I had this. But now, how can I really focus on the present? How can I really make a better version of myself? That's what Lord is, inspiring us, requesting us to follow. Okay, now as we move on, all right. Once again, this is a very, very, very beautiful principle. We're calling out the different periods in a day, how it affects the different modes of nature. Any guess what exactly is the which time of the day is really in the mode of goodness, which is in the mode of passion, which is in the mode of ignorance?
Brahma Muhurta is the
Brahma
morning.
Muhurta, early morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Morning is the time for us. And that's what we say, this early morning, like this is like, you put little effort and you get maximum return. And especially the prime time, especially in TV, they call prime time. During the prime time, they put, some nonsense shows, or they put really the shows which will really attract a lot of viewers. Right? Always they think, okay, which are the so that we should put it so that we get the maximum buck out of it. Right? Similarly, for us also, early morning, how we should really utilize our life. We should really utilize our life reading all these newspapers, which is going to really tell after a couple of hours or a few days, or watching nonsense things, or reading so many Facebook or WhatsApp articles, or gossiping about somebody, or just increasing our laziness of sleeping a couple of more hours. The early morning time is really important for us to do this, approach to the Supreme Lord, to be absorbed with the right sound vibration, bring positivity in our life, what we hear, what we speak, and so on. So I request everybody. That's why that's especially in Damodar month also. If you remember, we had one of that as a sutras. One of the positive transfer that we can bring it, getting early up in the morning, and that was not only for the month of Damodar, that we should really do every day in our life, and we can see that, right? Once we make it for a certain period of time, as soon as it becomes 4 o'clock or 4:30 or 5 o'clock or 5:30, depending on whatever is convenient and comfortable, right? It might not be comfortable for anybody, right? You have to come out of that comfortable zone. Especially in the winter, you always like to sleep for another 10 minutes, another 15 minutes, you want to snooze it. But you see the alarm clock also, right? Now, we always say it's very, very important. We said the procrastination and the snoozing is the character of mode of ignorance, right? So if you start your day from the snoozing and procrastination, what drives your behavior throughout the day? Mode of ignorance. But if you are really determined, enthusiastic, that yes, I must get up now, because that's what I have planned it, that I'll wake up at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever time it is, and then I will follow it. You see how much of positive confidence you will get throughout the day, that yes, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, right? So powerful, so magical, right? And you see all about even the entrepreneurs as well, how they have a so disciplined morning life. Are you able to relate to us so far? What are the principles that we are talking about, or is it too much impractical, or we're not able to relate to it? Please share your thoughts so far. We discussed so many thoughts. We are what we eat. We are what we speak. We are what we hear. We are how we respond to the different situations in our life, and we are how we use our time in different parts of the day. Okay, thank you very much. So now let's proceed to the next section. Okay, especially in our Bhagavad Gita, like it is said that we should do 3 things. Everybody should do these things: is yajna, dana, and tapa. Yajna, yes, we talked about, or sankirtana yajna, and we talked about tapa. Like one of the tapa we discussed about the speech. There are so many other things. Please read Bhagavad Gita to know more. But we'll talk about one dana. Like yes, charity is once again is a very nice thing, because it really brings that mood of giving, because the most happiest persons who are really get so many things, but the people who are really give. That's how I really make our heart lighter. But then charity also can be in 3 modes, right? Okay, let's throw a party for free drinking. Oh, let's throw a party just to showcase ourselves that I am the person who really, Issuraham, Bhogiham, right? I am want to be known as the Mr. So and so who is really donating so much, taking care of so many poor people, and so and so, or taking care of some clothes or some dress or something like that, or food, or I am the person who is really helping to really enlighten others, because we are, what is our consciousness? If our consciousness change, everything is changed. How we can enlighten others, how we can bring the transformation within others. And it is so very important principle that we should develop this mood of giving. We should develop the mood of this charity, right? And we were discussing last time as well, especially in this month of December, right? We focus a lot on giving these principles of Bhagavad Gita, giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to as many as possible, right? Even our we sent last time in our recap our message of our Prime Minister, right? He speaks so boldly and so openly, इस दुनिया में Bhagavad Gita से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं है, right? Like there is nothing bigger than Bhagavad Gita, and yes, that this is what we should make as a firm plan, that whatever gift we should give to others should be really a book that can really transform and that can really change themselves. Today only, we were discussing that there was one marriage party, and one of our devotee went that, okay, why do you want to give as some written gift or something like that? Why don't you give a Bhagavad Gita to them? Or you are, some organizations also, right? People distribute Bhagavad Gita because these principles of this knowledge, excellence, eternal, universal principles, right? How we can really facilitate that. That yes, this is our humble request once again. Be an humble instrument and spreading this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, spreading this message of Bhagavad Gita, and we are there to help, as you said, right, in as many ways as possible, to as many as possible. Let's distribute this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which can really bring the transformation not only within us but in the entire world. And it has happened. Like we see that one old person at 70-year-old, he can transform the hippies into the happies, and millions. Definitely, we believe that at least we have some capability, right? And we might not be able to transform millions or in all the countries of the world, but at least in our surroundings, we can bring some transformation. Let's drive that. Let's be that harbinger, the messenger of peace, within this world. Okay, Hare Krishna. So yes, we talked about yajna, dana, tapa, also the different modes. Yes, okay. If you want to hear, okay, I think we're running out of time, but we'll just hear what he's saying. Lord is saying here, charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to honor the person without proper attention and respect is said to into a mode of ignorance. We have to see the time, place, and circumstances, to give the charity. And the charity, when we are doing, expecting some return or desire for some fruitive results, name, fame, and prestige, right? In a grudging mood, right? Oh, he did this, I want to do this. These are all in the mode of passion. And then, but the charity that we do, right? Not expecting anything in the return, right? To the proper place, at the proper place, to the right persons, right? And that is considered to be in the mode of goodness. So now, most important question that we want to ask, right? So far so good. What is our objective so far? What is our objective? To come to the mode of goodness, isn't it? Everybody agrees with it. So how? Okay, so before going there, there is one question here. I'll just try to answer it. Maybe next time also we'll discuss in detail about this. Lord is saying, right, one of the topic that he discussed about faith also. In the 17th chapter, once again, he talks about faith also in the mode of passion or ignorance and the goodness, right? Or the bhakti somebody does, right? And he talks about that. Somebody might be doing, right, like some killing of some animals and things like that, right? that is we're causing suffering to others, right? That is definitely in the ignorance, right? But at least they are, why they are saying, there's a lot of science also behind it, at least, right, they are aware, like especially in that sacrifices they do in some places, right? What they do, it's called mamsaha, like the mantra they chant. What they chant, do you know? That I am killing you now, you can kill me in the next life. That is the meaning of the mantra they chant while doing that sacrifice, right? So yes, so, and it is mentioned that, right, like the different worshippers go to the different levels, right? The persons who are worshipping like the ghosts and goblins and things like that, they go to the hellish planets and hellish beings. The people who are worshipping the devatas, they are really and do some good activities. They stay in this material world, this earth planet, but with the worship of the Supreme Lord and spiritual, and they go to the spiritual world. That's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And especially in our next session, we'll discuss in detail about it. And yes, now Ranjulata Mataji is saying that, yes, our objective is to go into the mode of goodness. But isn't it the mode of goodness? Also, we said, is it a gold chain? We are also still trapped by the chain. Are we really free from the chain? Are we still, are we free from the bound? No, right? Or just like, especially, I don't know if you have seen in the villages, they have a bull, right, getting tied, right, to a rope. Somebody is having a rope of maybe I don't know, 10 meters. Somebody is really tied with a 1 meter. If is depending on the right the naughtiness of that bull, right, it given that much of freedom, right, but is still attached to that yoke, right? So is mode of goodness then enough? Not really. We have to go beyond. But then we have to really come to the mode of goodness to go beyond. And that go beyond is called transcendental mode of goodness. That is called Suddha Sattva. Because as we just said, the people who are in the mode of ignorance, they go to the lower species of life or the hellish planets. Those who are in the mode of passion, they continue to remain in the material world. And the people who are in the mode of goodness, they go to the heavenly planets or to the devatas. But Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartina arjuna. Lord is saying that from the higher planets to lower planets, everybody, they have to go through this janma mrityu jara vyadhi body. Like, yes, different form and flavors of suffering would be there, but you have to go through that. But those who come to me, they are free from everything. So how do you really come out of this material world? That Lord is saying that. How can we really be free from the three modes of nature? How can we really be free from, right, the different chains that we have? Like either the ignorance or the passion or in the mode of goodness. How we can really get free from the bonds? And then Lord is saying, come to me. I'm really waiting to embrace you. I want to really bind you with my embrace. Don't get really limited to yourself with that strings of rope or the chain of the silver or gold. Don't you really feel that? That there is nothing better or there is nothing else in our life as compared to this one? Yes, yes, this is what Lord is waiting for. This is what Lord is waiting for us to give his embrace to all of us, that we need to take care of it. Now its choice is within us. We want to be bound with the rope of chain, or we want to bound by the loving embrace of the Supreme Lord. What do you want? Lord is saying, yes, it is possible. Lord is saying that Devi esa gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam evaya prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Yes, my friends, this divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of nature, right, is very difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me, they can easily cross beyond these three modes of nature. Right? And then he's saying, Mam chaya vevicharena bhakti yogena sevate sogunan samatiyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in the devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at one transcends these three modes of material nature. this, and thus come to the level. He really comes to me. So now, is it clear so far that for us, there is a need for us to go beyond these three modes so that we can break free of the bonds, not really be bounded with that even golden ropes also. But as we said, to go to this transcendental mode of goodness, we have to go through the mode of goodness. Just like if you want to take off, before takeoff, you have to go through this, right? Takeoff areas, right? So that you can get the sufficient strength to really take off. We cannot just directly, take off from wherever we are. We have to go through the, takeoff track, right? So similarly, we have to come to this mode of goodness to go to the transcendental mode of goodness. We cannot bypass believers, right? Okay, I am doing bhakti, I am surrendered to the Lord, I can do anything. No. First, I have to come to the mode of goodness, then I have to go to the transcendental mode of goodness. Is it clear so far? Yes, we have to come to the runway, right? Before we take off. So we have to come to the mode of goodness. Is it clear so far? So now we'll discuss how we can really, what exactly really means this transcendental mode of goodness. Yes, we have discussed many times about it. This is the 5 principles. A, B, C, D, E. What is A? What is A? Getting hold of, right? Like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all these books, and in the association of the devotees, how we can really as much as remain and really connected to the right devotees of the Lord. And then, yes, we should imbibe ourselves with that positive sound vibration. We discuss so much in detail, right? Whatever we discuss, right? Like we are what we eat, right? It's not that we eat only vegetarian food, sattvic food, but then we should eat the food which is offered to Krishna. Right? Yes, it's not that, okay, we just get with some classical sound. Yes, we should Krishnaize it. We should hear Krishna sound. Yes, we should, hear nice books so that we associate nicely. But yeah, we should still hear the books which should really talks about Krishna. Yes, we should really associate the persons who can inspire us, who can really transform us. But then we should, be with the person who can really get us closer to Krishna. All right. And that's how we should create an environment. We should create an ambience which really helps us in, be free from the triggers, right? That impulses that might cause, right? Like, if you, like, as I said, like, if you stay with those old friends who will take us to the bar or to, movies, right? Do you really want to associate with them? Or we want to associate with them who can really inspire us, who can transform us to go in the positive direction? So how I really, do that litmus test, that yes, somehow or other, I have been sown the seed of bhakti into my heart, right? How I have to regularly water it. And then once I water it, right, definitely once you sow a seed in the field, and not only the plant grows up, not the rice crops grows up or the wheat crops grows up, around it the weeds also comes up. So how we should really be careful in identifying the weeds and really taking out the weeds. How I should really introspect, reflect, contemplate, right? To decide, okay, what are those weeds and seeds in my life? And really taking out that weeds regularly and focusing only on the seeds. And that's about the Krishna consciousness. That's why this Krishna consciousness is not really the goal, right? The bliss of Krishna consciousness is not really the goal. But even in the means, even the processes, we can really enjoy that bliss, right? And how we do it? Somebody might ask, right? Yes, we want to really now break free from bonds and we want to really fly to the spiritual world. And how we do it? Please remember these 3 principles that we are going to share it. It can really transform life, in any sphere, once again, across different fields, in a family, in a professional way, in a corporate life or in a student life, wherever it is. And if you just do 3 things, right, it can really transform the dream into a reality. What? Priority, consistency, and intensity. What is a priority? Yes, there will be always a choice point between 2 pain points. You have to suffer, as I said, right? You have to go through some pain, because in the mode of goodness also we said that first you will go through some something that will feel like poison, but at the end nectar will come. But at the point of time, you will feel some poison. Yes, to chant some rounds early in the morning, or to be away from this all this different kinds of stimulus food is not easy, and that we need to really bring the pain of discipline, right? Otherwise, we are bound to have the pain of regret later. But we should understand and remember this: the pain of regret is much higher than the pain of discipline. Once again, I repeat, right? The pain of regret is like tons of weight, and the pain of discipline is like grams of weight. So we have to make a choice whether we want to go through the pain of discipline in our life, or we want to suffer at the end in our deathbed. Oh, I could have done this. Oh, I could not do it. Oh, if I could have studied, then I could have really gone to so and so different colleges. Oh, I would have done this and I would have been so successful. But really, spiritually, in my family, if I would have really listened to this principle, I could have a very wonderful relationship at home. And then it's not understanding that right choice, but how we do it consistently. How do you put that right effort, right? It's not our intention, but our action. Our intention and action has to be aligned, right? And then there has to be an accountability, because if you don't measure it, you cannot progress it. That's what we say in the corporate world also, right? And whatever we had decided as a priority, okay, I will make a vow, like we discussed last time, even the drive for change. I'll take out that bad habits. I'll bring some positivity with some higher taste, right? We discussed that in detail last time. How through our head, our heart, and hand, what I should be convinced, and I love to do this, and I'm committed to do this, right? Yes, and there has to be head, heart, and hand commitment to drive the transformation. Once you do that transformation, I must do it regularly and consistently. And then I should really measure. Like if I say that, okay, now onwards, I'll chant minimum 1 round of day, round every day. Okay, I will read at least 1 chapter a day, maybe per week. Okay, at least I will stay away from the junk food, at least, right, as much as possible, right? At the same time, right, I will give you one more beautiful principle. We do something called queuing principle, right? If somebody says that, oh, I will run every day, it's still very subjective. But if somebody says that I will run every day as soon as I get up in the morning, you see, or I will say that, oh, I will ensure that I chant my rounds before I do my breakfast, right? You say, attach something to it, you put some trigger to it, right? Then you will ensure that you will do it consistently. Otherwise, okay, theek hai, chalta hai. If I don't do it now, what happens? But how do I really bring a measure to it in my life? Because this is very, very critical. And third thing is intensity, right? It's that, okay, like yesterday we had a feast for the devotees. We're cooking for around 400 devotees. And can I really put some small stove to bring up that rice for 400 devotees? Not possible. I need to put some attention. I need to put the absorption, right? I cannot put wrap a sponge with some covering of plastic and I put it in the water. Will the sponge absorb water? Because my mind is somewhere else. Even if I'm really associated with the devotees, I know, especially in this Zoom sessions, how difficult it is, right? We get abstracted with so many things. How can you really be absorbed, right? But yes, you have been doing so wonderfully, over so many weeks, right? So attention and absorption is so important. And last one, please remember, like we should have some incremental improvement. Like that's why you call it the SIP or or the compound interest, right? You continue to increase. Continue to increase. There was, once again, I'll talk about one example. There was a guy called Milo, and this one sports Olympian, right? So what he used to do early in his life, he found one day that there is a calf in the nearby house, and he loved that calf, and he started going around with that calf. And then next day also he found that calf, and he started doing it. And he was doing for now days, for weeks and months, and over a period of time that calf became a bull, and even didn't realize that. Now not only he was carrying that 10 kgs of that calf, but maybe 100 or 200 kg of bull, right? No wonder he became the most famous wrestler. But then if he would have tried to lift the bull on one day. Is it enough? No, it's possible. It's not possible. But because he was doing daily and with that small increments, right? It is possible. So that's, yes, it might be difficult to wake up, from 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or 5 o'clock in one day. But can we just do 15 minutes of change? If I was waking up at 7 o'clock, can I wake up at 6:45? It's possible. If I'm working at 6:45, can I wake up at 6:30? It is possible. I was not aware of reading a Bhagavad Gita. Can I just do one verse? Can I then do it 2 verses? I'm chanting one verse. Can I chant 2 rounds? Yes, how can I really bring small. Okay, I was really getting angry for everything. At least I make a vow that, okay, I'll not be angry whatever happens more than once in a day. Right? Okay, if I was going to the restaurant and eating junk food every day, right? Okay, I'll do now, just once in a week. Right? We can just make some improvement, right? We're not asking for do some drastic change right away, but just follow this principle. What is that principle we talked about? Priority, and then consistency, and then what else? Anybody remember this PCI principle? Priority, consistency, and intensity.
Intensity.
Very well. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, or anything you would like to share? Because as we said, we are getting closer to our Bhagavad Gita course. Just we'll have one kind of final topic, right? And then we'll just transition towards the end of the program. Okay. Any questions, comments, reflections from today's
We
session?
couldn't attend to the previous session, so we would be happy if you can again continue doing that.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So the one way is that, okay, like all of our sessions are recorded, and we always send our this sessions, YouTube sessions, so you can refer to the YouTube sessions, and we'll see if time permits, so we can do that. But most important thing is that, yes, it's already available in those YouTube links. Now I would request you to please go through that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, there is one question also in the chat, if you can take it up. It's a general query also, because plants also has life. So
Yeah.
if we are eating plant-based food, so are we not eating the living ones?
Very good question. We had discussed this, but once again, we're happy to answer that. Yes, it is. We are committing offense. Even we are taking breath. We are committing offense. So many microbes and so many microorganisms, they are going into the body. Right? We cannot survive. Like that's why in our scriptures, jiva jivasya jivanam. We are surviving at the cost of somebody else. Yes, it is a difficult life, right? But at the same time, we heard that very beautiful principles from Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter. Lord is saying that yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. But then we are doing it first. Whatever we do, we are doing as an offering to the Lord. Then Lord is saying mukta sangha samachara. Then you will be free from activities. It's not that once again, but Lord is saying also what he wants. He's saying patram puspam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. It is there in 9.26, right? Lord is saying what he accepts. It's not that Lord is saying that, okay, you can you can offer meat, egg, and fish and whatever you want to eat, and then you offer me and then you can take it. No, Lord is saying specifically what he likes. Once you offer it with love, these things, patram puspam phalam toyam, and we also discussed in detail, right? What are those things that were there, required for our body? We need to leave, but then we do it. Everything we do as an offering to the Lordship's. First we offer it, and then we accept it, and then the sinful activities, whatever that we might incur, that will, get purified. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any questions or comments? Okay, Piyush Prabhuji, yes, please go ahead. I will.
Yeah, Prabhuji, related to this question, I have just shared one of the link where
Okay.
I heard about this Krishna theory and what we have discussed.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
useful for all of us, what I believe.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, let's, as we always hear and we always remind ourselves, the most important thing for us, yes, is to share this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. I would request everybody, please come forward. You know, if you don't have it, take this Bhagavad Gita, and if you have it, now please distribute it to others. And then there are also higher versions of Bhagavad Gita. We call Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, the beautiful principles of Bhagavad Gita, how devotees have applied in their own life. And that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So if somebody would like, you can reach out directly to us. We'll be happy to share with you how this books can really transform us. I would request you, please take this book, read these books, and share these books. I would be really happy, and that would really help Srila Prabhupada. That would really please Srila Prabhupada, and that would really help everybody and please everybody.
Prabhuji, just one question on this books distribution. So, is it okay to distribute at a printing cost, or is it okay to offer someone Srimad Bhagavad Gita free of cost, without printing, without taking seva, without taking printing cost?
Yeah. So like a lot of devotees come forward, like for donation. That's why sometimes now this year we have given shipping free of cost, or we are giving some discount for Gita Jayanti and so on. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada always says that if you give something free of cost, people don't take it lightly, right? Like if you would have charged maybe this Gita course, maybe 5,000 rupees, right? Like sometimes, they say that, oh, somebody would have, I have really paid a price for it. I have to attend it regularly. Because sometimes we give free, to okay, yeah, I attend, don't attend. How does it matter? Who really cares for it? I'm not paying any price for it, right? So that's why, there's another perspective to it, that, once it goes something out of the good, okay, I bought it with, paying some price, let me read it. Because the purpose of distributing is not to just, distribute and just take it in their home, but bringing some commitment into their heart, so that they can read it. Okay, hope it answers.
Definitely, Prabhuji. I was just having this kind of question because I'm also distributing Srimad Bhagavad Gita nowadays.
Okay,
so
very good.
just
Very good.
facing this kind of thing.
And especially, you do distribute it, like we go to the orphanages or hospitals or jails, we distribute free of cost. But especially if who can afford it, we can really ask, for just a printing price of it.
All right, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's pray to Lord Narasimhadev so that he brings this auspiciousness all around. Okay, thank you very much once again. So yes, let's, before we end, continue to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So Deepak Prabhu, can you just chant for 2 minutes before we proceed to our Kirtan program?
Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Yes, as we discussed, it's not only about the information, but the transformation is really important. Yes, we heard about three modes of nature, and we discussed about how we can really come out of these three modes of nature through this strings of ropes from that 7.14 verse, Devi Esa Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. Yes, we have to follow this 5 essential principles of A, B, C, D, E. Association, books, chanting, diet Krishna Prasadam, and how we can create our environment. And the most important thing is chanting, the middle part. Yes, how we can make our life, how we can somehow dovetail in such a way our life that our focus is on chanting of the holy name through the japa or through the kirtan. And now we have our Brinda Mataji with us and Siddharth Prabhu, who can really take us back to the spiritual world, so that how we can surrender. Please see, it's not about what we chant, but how we chant. The mood that we chant, by taking shelter of the Lord, and nothing else is there. Nothing else can help us. Nothing else can protect us, apart from the Supreme Lord. Yes, Mataji, please continue. Brinda Mataji, Siddharth Prabhu, please continue.
Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurava Tatmarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Achatari Sacharini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Satarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshutarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Govinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gaurahari. Jaya
Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gaurahari.
Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Thank you. It was so ecstatic, melodious, and with the right mood, as we were discussing. It's not about how we chant the holy name, but with intention and with absorption and with the right intensity. Thank you very much for giving a nice demonstration of that, how we have to chant from the heart and not from the lips. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'd like to thank once again all the participants for our Gita course. So we look forward to next session where we'll be talking about who is the supreme boss of this world. And this will be presented by a wonderful family, because through these sessions, we are trying to share with you that how this can be practiced in a family atmosphere, like a husband, wife, with children. This is not that, okay, only Prabhuji have to practice or only Mataji have to practice. So as you can see that how so many families have been practicing this sincerely and bringing transformation within. Thank you very much. Look forward to the next time. So maybe if you have any, you can go offline, and any questions you have that you would like to answer or would like to have an answer, we can discuss that. So Deepak Prabhu, we can stop.